Uber Eats has low fee products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. Lauren Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I've seen like this is your haircut. But that's the hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay.
Football Fix. Welcome to Fan University on 105.3 The Fan.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for some Fan University here on 105.3 The Fan. My name is Carter Freeman, and you might normally expect to hear one Jake Riepma be the one to intro this show, but this weekend the show is going to be a little different. Jake Riepma is on assignment, as Gavin Dawson would like to say. He is out in Morgantown, Virginia, visiting his fiance and going to the Colorado-West Virginia game today. So we will actually talk to him and Brendan Baxter, our other normal host. He is also on assignment. He is out in Lubbock because Texas Tech has a pretty big game today. Isn't that right, Jacob Ray?
Yeah, they do. We subbed one Jake in for other Jake, and I wish I was in Brendan's shoes right now. There's nothing quite like what's going on in Lubbock, and I wish I could be a part of it. But hey, you know, we get to experience it here. We got game day on in the background, so we'll still be tuned in, and we'll be talking a lot about the Texas Tech and BYU game today for sure.
It'll be a huge topic on the show, no doubt. Like I said, we'll go out to Brennan in Lubbock at 9:40. We're going to do a bit of a split segment here. We'll have Brennan on, and we'll have Jake on, kind of get a little bit of lay of the land of both of those games, as well as some of their thoughts on some of this Week 11 slate. And next segment, 9:20, we will talk to Drew Mestemaker, North Texas quarterback, who's having quite a big season. UNT's on bye this week, so we had a chance to end up talking to him, and that went really well. That was really fun. So we will get to talk to him next. But, fellas, it's the opening kick. This is how we always start the show. We always want to go over some of the big games of the week. And, Jacob, I feel like we got to start with you. I mean, I see a Texas Tech hat. I see a Texas Tech polo. There are probably Texas Tech underwear, socks.
That's a good idea.
All of that. Like, I feel like if you're not top to bottom, I don't know what we're doing. So let me take a swing and say that your most interesting game of the day is BYU and Texas Tech.
Oh, how did you guess?
Yes. We're off to a hot start here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the college football game day game. First time they've been there since 2008. I'm sure you've seen it all over social media. Lubbock is rocking right now.
It's been rocking since, Monday.
Yeah,
the scenes at night have been wild.
I told you pre-show, I don't think I've ever seen a college town do what Lubbock's doing right now. Granted, Lubbock's a city of 300,000 people, and they've got one of the largest campuses in the country, so it's to be expected. And if you ever saw some of the things they would do, like they camped out like this when Chris Beard came back with Texas for the first time they played Texas Tech.
I remember that.
For a ranked matchup in Lubbock. So this isn't really a surprise. If you're from Lubbock, you understand what's going on. But by far the biggest game of the day, we got a top 10 matchup. BYU's ranked 7th, Texas Tech's ranked 8th, and these are the college football playoff rankings. The AP poll BYU's 8, Texas Tech is 9. They did shift the spread to 11.5. It was 10.5 yesterday. So reverse line move a little bit. Maybe people are jumping on that BYU plus 10.5 like we kind of talked about. But yeah, this is the biggest game in Texas Tech football history. You can miss me with the 08 game with Texas Tech and Texas. That was a team where you had Graham Harrell and you had Michael Crabtree, the best wide receiver in college, and that was it. You had no defense. You had nothing. This is a program setter. You spent all this money, and this is your way to say, hey, college football, I'm here. We've arrived. And you've got Texas Tech, who's got one of the largest donor bases in the country, who's proven that they are going to continue to donate and continue to build this team, and this is the first step in the right direction.
I wanted to ask, Jacob, do you have any friends at Tech that are partaking in any of the shenanigans?
I do. I wasn't aware of how difficult it was to get into College Game Day. So one of my buddies... you
never had it when you were in school, so...
No, we didn't. We had Big Noon, but that was it. And I think everybody got into that. But one of my buddies
goes to that.
One of my buddies, out of his 5 classes, there is one person across all 5 classes that is going to be at game day.
So my freshman year at OU, we had Notre Dame come to campus, and we got game day. I believe that was late October of that year. And I had friends that went, and they ended up, I think they got there around 1 or 2 in the morning. For this is a 8 a.m. local broadcast is when it would have started. So they were there 7 hours in advance, but at that point, OU had been to a national title game a couple years ago. The school had been getting game day regularly. So I think for y'all at Texas Tech, this is a bit different. This is pretty much a once-in-a-generation. I mean, a lot of the kids who are at Tech were 1 or 2 the last time that this ended up coming through Lubbock. So
I didn't know Texas Tech existed.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I was a wee little boy up in Chicago. I've never heard of Texas Tech when they came last time.
Hadn't even been in the great state yet.
Nope.
And this BYU Texas Tech game, you can say it's the most important game in Texas Tech history. I know you have some reasons why, and we'll get into those in a little bit, but I think this is the biggest Big 12 game in a long time. I'm trying to think regular season, that is, because obviously you have the championship game. That'll matter for who wins the conference and now who gets an automatic berth into the college football playoff. But when was the last regular season game in this conference that you can remember that not just had conference title implications like this, but national championship implications? Like, my thought is, and I'm trying not to be biased here, but I think it was OU and Baylor in 2019 when Baylor was undefeated with Matt Rule. OU was 8-1, Lincoln Riley, Jalen Hurts. OU wins that game. They end up playing again in the Big 12 championship game. OU wins, goes to the playoff, gets shellacked by LSU, because that was what OU did in the late 2010s, is make the playoff because someone had to, and get smacked around by the SEC team. But I'm struggling to think of another Big 12 game this decade that has had these big of national implications.
When you posed this question, my brain immediately went to Bedlam, Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma, the year Caleb Williams took over. 2021, where Oklahoma State needed to win that game to get into the Big 12 championship game. Now, they lost to Baylor on the 1-inch line.
Yep. And have gone totally downhill ever since.
Yeah, no kidding. But other than that, I would probably venture to guess some Red River games. But, I mean, you really haven't had these huge matchups since that OU Baylor game. So
the tough thing about Red River is it happens, I guess, so early in the season or, beginning of October that at that point you think both teams are good. And you always enjoy that game. It's always a fun game that ends up being played. But just with this being late in the season, there only being a couple games left, I think in that regard, it has this BYU Texas Tech game has a lot more going for it than any Red River game over the last couple of years.
Now, y'all mentioned a couple of the memorable Big 12 games. I got a couple more for y'all. 2014 Baylor and TCU, Oklahoma and Texas 1984. I mean, I know we all remember that.
Yeah,
and
classic.
Then Texas A&M and Kansas State 1998 are some of the games that pull up when you look up memorable Big 12 games.
So you don't get a lot of games like this in this conference. It's been a long time since, you can say the Big 12 has lost some of its luster with OU and Texas leaving, just as far as like branding, and then the teams and schools that the Big 12 have brought in maybe haven't had the immediate success to make the conference the tier that people view the SEC and the Big Ten as, but it's always a fun conference. Anyone can win on any given day, and this game is going to be a showcase of that, and I think it's going to be very fun too. We will pick this game as well as the game I'm most interested in. My Sooners are on bye this week, so this is a great week for this because I can just enjoy BYU Texas Tech, and I can enjoy, as a kind of a sicko, I would think is a way you enjoy this game. That would be Oregon going to Iowa.
Yeah.
That is my most interesting game because if you look at Oregon, they're 9 in the initial CFP poll. And we're going to get into the CFP and Carter's Corner in a little bit. Plenty to get into there, especially with Memphis losing last week. Oregon's 9 in the CFP poll. And if you look at their resume, their best win is over Northwestern, who is 9-4. That's the only game they've won with over a team with a winning record.
And I are also on the other side, like Iowa's a sneaky 6-2 and coming in at 20. I mean, say what you want. I have not paid attention to Iowa Hawkeyes football over the past 3 years. So.
Iowa's Iowa.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way Fred Davis would say it. Iowa's Iowa. Yeah. You know they're going to have a salty defense. They're going to have a strong offensive line. And Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City is where teams with national championship implications go to die. Mm-hmm. That is where those hopes die late in the season. Penn State in 2008, Ohio State in 2017. There are so many examples of when a team in the top 10 or maybe even the top 5 has gone to Iowa and lost and even gotten blown out in those games to just completely take those hopes away. And Oregon's already sitting there with a loss. They lost to Indiana at home by double digits, which I think we all think, Indiana's the real deal. So that's not the worst loss in the world. But
well, do we?
Do you not think Indiana's the real deal?
No, tease it for a later segment.
Okay, look, we got 2 hours today, fellas. We're going 9 to 11. We're going to carry the Texas Tech BYU game starting at 11 on these very airwaves. So we'll want you to stick around after Fan University for that. But look, the loser of this game, probably not completely out of at least the Big Ten race, but you got to think, if Oregon goes on the road and can't beat Iowa, they're really not the contender that we may have thought they were after they beat Penn State earlier this season.
I agree, and if Iowa wins this game, do they jump Oregon in the college football standings? Because then you've got two teams with the exact same record, and Iowa's got a better Big Ten record. I think they do.
Yeah, absolutely. If Oregon loses this game, Iowa's going to jump them. Now, how high will Iowa jump? We'll have to see. That'll, we'll figure that out the next CFP rankings. But the thing with Iowa is, like we always say, they're a complete team. They don't beat themselves. They don't make mistakes. And it still is the offense is going to be the thing that holds them back. They're always going to win with defense. They brought in Mark Gronowski, quarterback from, I believe, South Dakota State, won 2 national championships with the Jackrabbits at the FCS level. He looks like he doesn't know how to play football anymore. Something about playing in Iowa, even after they changed out Kirk Ferentz's son as the offensive coordinator, their offense still isn't just, they cannot figure it out. And it's become this big meme, this big sickos committee thing across college football. But that's a hard place to play. I was reading an article from The Athletic from about PJ Fleck at Minnesota, talking about hardest places to play in the country, and he immediately said Kinnick. So,
and they kind of over the past couple years, Iowa kind of reminds me of like the Pittsburgh Steelers of college football.
Is it the uniforms? Because they're very similar.
It's the uniforms.
Too.
And It's the fact that the Iowa Hawkeyes will win a game 15-9 on 5 field goals, like the Steelers would.
Yep.
And their offense has never really looked good, at least from when I've been watching college football. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see how Dante Moore bounces back in this game. I've got him and I've got DeCorian Moore and Jaken around coming up. So we'll see what their lines are at. But I don't know. I don't think if you told me we'd be at this point where we'd be questioning Oregon making the college football playoff after they beat Penn State, I would have told you you're crazy.
It is crazy, and it's probably even crazier just looking at Penn State and seeing just how far they've fallen ever since that game. That Penn State still doesn't have a win in the Big Ten. They're one of the few winless teams in conference play. All right, we got the fan text up here, 877-881-1053. We do have our Northern Arizona Tolo checking in from the 928. Thank you for listening. We've got Iowa wins this game. They should have beaten Indiana a few weeks ago, and that's a good point. Iowa is the only team this season that's really given Indiana a run for their money. Oregon as well. I mean, that was a close game on the road, but yeah, Iowa held Indiana to, I believe, 20 points and Indiana scored that final touchdown with maybe less than 2 minutes left on the road to get that win. So look, either way for Indiana, whoever wins this game, that's going to make them look even better because they've beaten both of these teams, beaten them both in close games too.
Do you ever see a scenario where without Ohio State losing, Indiana does enough to jump them for the number 1 spot?
Say that one more time.
So do you see a scenario where without Ohio State losing, Indiana jumps them for the number 1 spot in the country? Just because I think Indiana's got more quality wins. They beat Oregon on the road.
They've beaten Iowa as well, which I think is probably better than Ohio State's second best win. Ohio State's best win is still Texas.
Yeah, and that's been aging a little bit better for them lately.
For sure.
It really wasn't looking good, but now it's better. They're what, 13th in the country right now?
They're
Texas
11th.
11th.
Texas is 11. They would be the first team out of the CFP if it started right now. No, I don't think there's a scenario where Indiana jumps them. I think the committee, if they both went out, the committee's already set the precedent with these first rankings by saying, look, we think Ohio State is the best team in the country. We think Indiana's up there, but they're not quite as good. And could that be Brand? Probably. I think that always goes into these rankings in people's minds, whether they want it to or not. But I don't think if they win out, Indiana has a chance of jumping them unless Ohio State wins all the remaining games by 1 point. And I don't know why I'd have any reason to believe that because Ohio State's allowing, I think, a touchdown a game on defense. That's how good they've been. So
yeah, they were allowing like 3 points a game at one point.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And now it's up to 7, right?
Yeah.
Like unbelievable. They're up to 7 points allowed per game. But no, I don't think so. And we'll get, like I said earlier, we'll get more into the CFP rankings in Carter's Corner. Kevin Walker, what is your most interesting game of the weekend?
My most interesting game of the weekend is actually LSU and Alabama, and one might be asking why, because it's number 4 ranked Alabama versus unranked LSU. And the reason why is I'm going to look at the point spread. And I want to get y'all's opinion on this as well. 10.5-point favorites for Alabama at home. If Alabama can't cover 10.5 points, if Alabama can't beat LSU by 12 or 13 points, do they deserve to be a top 4 ranked team? Because I don't think so.
I think if you look at the body of work, yes. Because the thing with the SEC is like week in and week out, it's becoming much more NFL-like with these results. I think the disparity in talent is so thin now, or the level of talent is so close, I will say that, look, Alabama went and beat 4 ranked teams in a row. They spent a month beating ranked teams, whether at home or on the road. Then the very next weekend against an unranked South Carolina on the road, it took them until the very end of that game to go ahead and win. So I know LSU's fired their head coach. I know that their season is not what they want it to be, but I still think that LSU has the talent to stay, that they could potentially stay close in this game. So I still like Alabama, even if this ends up being a close game. If they lose, it's a little different.
Yeah,
but if it's a close game, Alabama pulls away late, I'll still think, okay, I do still think Alabama is one of the best teams in the country.
With that being said, I still think Alabama's going to blow them out. And I'm going kind of tying this into the Tech game a little bit. I've been looking around just because I wanted to get a gauge on how the country feels about the Tech game, right? I wanted to figure out how comfortable are we that Tech's going to win this game. The fact that Texas Tech, spread-wise, is more favored to win at home against a higher-ranked team,
undefeated
than
team,
Alabama is to beat LSU at home, that's crazy. I would be slamming the Alabama Crimson Tide to cover here.
Our Peyton Russell of the morning show's at that game, so hopefully he's not a curse. Yes. We'll have to find out later tonight. That's a 6:30 kick, I believe, on ABC. And Tolos, let us know, 877-881-1053 on the Twitch, on the YouTube as well. How are we going to watch these games? Because I got YouTube TV, and I'm still trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to get all these ESPN and ABC games because of BYU Texas Tech. The A&M Missouri is a game we haven't even talked about yet, and then Alabama LSU. Those are the big games of the day on ABC. Currently, I don't have a way to watch them, and I'm not sticking with just Fox and CBS.
No.
I need these ESPN games. So text us in how you're going to watch these games and maybe help me figure out how I'm going to do it too. But it's Fan University here on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, we had a conversation with North Texas star quarterback Drew Mestamaker. So we'll play that next, and we'll talk a little bit about this American Conference race and how it heated up a little bit last night. Next here on Fan University 105.3 The Fan.
Tolo means turn it on and leave it on. Thank you for making 105.3 The Fan and the Odyssey app part of your day every day.
1-877 1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true.
To remember that Uber Eats has groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Back to the Fan University. This segment is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first, 214 or 817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there is never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to for car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Play action. Mestemaker stepping up in the pocket, airing it out for Cameron Dorner, and he's got it. It's a touchdown, North Texas.
Fan University here, 105.3 The Fan, myself, Carter Freeman, and Jacob Ray, as he is lowering his seat on the other side of me right now. And earlier this week, we had a chance to talk to Drew Mestemaker, the rising star who is quarterbacking the North Texas Mean Green to great things this season. UNT's on bye this week. They're sitting at 8-1. And some of the results of last night's games in the American Conference definitely helped them out. But I did want to intro this because you're going to hear Jake Riepma's voice and not mine. Jake Riepma and Brennan Baxter are not on today's show. Just want to get that out of the way first. But this is our conversation with Drew Mestemaker earlier this week.
It's Fan University right here on 105.3 The Fan. Jake Riepma alongside Brennan Baxter and Carter Freeman. And right now we're pleased to be joined by the quarterback of the North Texas Mean Green. He was just on the Rich Eisen show, and now he's making time for us on Fan University. Drew Mestemaker, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for hopping on. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Doing really well, and we were joking before we began with all of this. First, the Rich Eisen show. How was that? And now you're on Fan University. What a day for you.
I know. It's a full day of interviews, but I'm happy to be here.
With everything going on, obviously you guys have had a ton of success, and the big win over Navy. Just take us into the locker room of the Mean Green. How's everything going, and the overall vibes of the program?
I mean, I think we feel good. As a team, we kind of had a little bump in the road there mid-year, but I think that was good for us, honestly, to kind of have a taste of some adversity, and we knew. The season was going to be hard, and it was going to be a long season, but, we feel good, and we're taking it 1 week at a time, and we got our sights set on conference championship, college football playoffs. So we just got to take it 1 week at a time and keep winning.
Well, Drew, this is all, new to you, at least in the college scene. I'm sure there's so many more voices that want to talk to you, whether it's us in the media or, potentially we'll call them external agents, maybe inquiring about your future. How do you kind of keep all of that out, all the outside noise out to continue to have the success that you've had on the field?
Yeah, I think, kind of just separating the two, it's nice, being at the facility and not having, all of it at the facility, and kind of trying to separate the two. I think, whenever I come in and, this first half of my day, whenever I'm in the facility, getting treatment, watching film, in meetings and everything, I just, try to keep this the main thing. And, it's always the main thing, but especially whenever I'm here, and, just kind of try to block out all the outside noise and focus on, what it'll take to win the games.
Drew, your journey to even becoming a starting quarterback at North Texas is crazy. And to see you featured on a game day, I don't know, you had an 11 a.m. game last week, so maybe you didn't see it at the time, but just to see your rise to national relevance and the Mean Green's rise has been so cool to see. Can you tell us how you're just feeling? And is it weird to see you on things like that? Is it weird to hear your name talked nationally in conversations? I mean, it's just got to be such a unique experience from where you came from to where you are now.
Yeah, 100%. I would say it's a little weird sometimes. All my friends are taking videos of me on the TV and on College Game Day and everything. And it's to think back 2 years ago, I was sitting on my couch watching College Game Day at my house back in Austin. So to be on that and then to be playing on TV too, it's crazy, and it's awesome to be in this position.
Drew Mestemaker is with us on Fan University right here on 105.3 The Fan. And Drew, we had your head coach on a few episodes ago on Fan University, Eric Morris, and we asked him about you. and he was very complimentary and sang your praises. But he also said sometimes you're a little bit quirky, a little bit, you get in and kind of do things your own way. So I want to give you the floor on that same token. How would you describe Eric Morris as the head coach of the Mean Green?
Um, I mean, I think he's the quarterback dream of a head coach, and a play caller. As a quarterback, you want to throw the ball, you want them to trust you and put the ball in your hands, and to have a coach like that breathes confidence into you and just makes you feel like you know that he trusts you and he has all of his confidence in you. It makes you play that much better and that much harder for him, and he's just just a great coach.
Okay, Drew, you've thrown for over 600 yards in a game this year. You've had a ton of success on offense, but I haven't yet seen you do the stone cold Steve Austin celebration that your defense does. What would it, and I know that's a defensive thing, but what would it take for you to get in on that on the sideline this season?
Yeah, maybe a rushing touchdown or something. I might have to do it like with the football in the end zone or something. So we'll see.
Drew, I was curious. Obviously, North Texas, y'all had the huge game against USF that you just weren't quite able to get moving in that game and unfortunately weren't able to win. But since then, 55-17, 54-20, then a dominating win against Navy. And you've been highly effective, 8 touchdowns and 1 interception since that. What was the vibe in the locker room after that, throughout the course of the next week of everything's still in front of us here? You can still go compete for the American Championship. How deflating was it? But then to rise back and have the great 3 weeks you have, what does that say about the team and the locker room and you as a leader being the quarterback?
Yeah, I think we all kind of were deflated after that. We knew we kind of missed out on a big opportunity of just playing against a really good team, but I think we got a lot of mature guys on this team that knew it was just a bump in the road, and we got our sights set on things that were still very attainable. So we knew we just had to go back and kind of look ourselves in the mirror and think about what we could do better, and kind of clean up anything we had to just to kind of bounce back. And I think having these 3 bounce back weeks have been huge for just the team and our confidence, and just kind of getting back on the right track.
Drew Messmaker is with us on Fan University. And Drew, we could talk ball, X's and O's all afternoon, but I want to go off the field a little bit. And, doing my homework for this, what better spot than Twitter, X, whatever we want to call it. I saw a little NIL action with Portillo's. Is that true? And what's your go-to order there?
Yeah, that is true. I actually wasn't really a Portillo's goer before they contacted me, but I didn't really know much about it. But I went and tried all their stuff, and I was a big fan of the pasta they had there. And me and the O line are actually going this afternoon, so it'll be fun.
If Drew Messmaker could make his own NIL deal from any fast food company or even beyond that, what would it be?
I'd probably have to say Canes. I'm a huge Canes fan. And probably get it a little bit too much, but
Drew Messmaker is with us on Fan University, and Drew, will wrap it up and get you out the door on this one. I guess we could talk food and snacks and NIL all afternoon, but with the schedule you guys have in front of you, and I know you've alluded it to a little bit, but the goals for this team still very, very much obtainable. What's kind of the message for everybody listening in not just the DFW area, but really nationally, the rise of the Mean Green?
I think we play an exciting brand of football. We put up points. We make our defense turns the ball over, and we make plays. And so I think we're an exciting team, and we can be in any game that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot in. And I think we can honestly play with anyone in the country whenever we're playing our game.
Absolutely. UAB up next, and you got Rice, and then at Temple, and then after that, we'll see. But Drew, we appreciate you so much for hopping on and joining Fan University. All the best this coming week and beyond, and we'll have to do it again. And make sure you try the whole menu at Portillo's there.
Drew Mestemaker here on 105.3 The Fan. A fun little conversation with him. Have you ever been to Portillo's there, Jacob?
Have I ever been to Portillo's? Jake Riepma, a man after my own heart, my fellow Northerner. That's cool, man. To get a Portillo's sponsorship, that's sick.
Yeah.
But their pasta's not good.
Not good?
It's not great.
Okay, I've never had it, so...
And if you go to a Portillo's in Texas, the hot dogs here are not nearly as good as the ones from where I'm from up in Chicago. It's night and day.
It's interesting how cross-country some of those things work, because I had a In-N-Out burger in California earlier this year when we were out at Cowboys training camp. Had one when it came back. I really didn't think it was that much better. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was that much better.
That was the first time I had In-N-Out was in California. I don't really remember the experience. I guess it didn't blow me away.
Look, all I will say is Whataburger is good wherever you have it, because Whataburger is the best, and that would be my NIL deal. But look, Drew Mestemaker, like we said, having a great season, a lot of fun to talk to. I do hope he does that Stone Cold Steve Austin celebration at one point, because that's just a very fun thing. And I think at the Group of 5 level, a lot of schools have adopted things like that to kind of make them stand out. And when you're having the success on the field, it makes it that much more fun. So look, my little sister went to UNT. I was, looking at UNT going to before I ended up going to OU, so I am still a personal fan, so maybe that colors my bias a little bit, but I'm happy to see their success.
Yeah, those Group of 5 teams, it's kind of like you have success on the field, but those teams don't get noticed the way other teams do, so it's like Group of 5 teams need to find a way to get clicks, right? They need to find a way to get their exposure, and hey, man, if it's a Stone Cold Steve Austin because Drew Mestemaker's got a rushing touchdown, I'm here for it.
Yeah, all he does is throw. And he talked in our interview about how Eric Morris is the coach for the quarterback. He's, coach of a quarterback's dreams with how he's managed to develop him in a couple weeks.
Tom Brady?
Drew Mestemaker?
Is he Tom Brady?
He does have the voice of a leader.
He does.
Look.
That's how I see it.
He's led his team to an 8-1 start. And fellas, before we go to break, I do want to tell you, I think I figured out how to get UNT not just into the CFP, but to host the American Conference Championship game on their way. Oh, baby. You ready for this? Kevin Walker, you UNT grad?
I'm listening.
Okay. So UNT needs to win out. Simple as that. They'd be 11-1. They'd have one loss in the American. Navy needs to win out in conference. So the Navy plays Notre Dame today. That's not a conference game, so that doesn't count exactly towards this. Navy needs to win their final 2 or 3 conference games. That way both UNT and Navy have one loss in conference. Then you need Tulane, who beat Memphis last night. You need Tulane to lose to Temple. Okay, Temple's having a good season. They nailed their head coaching hire, Casey Keeler from Sam Houston State. So you need Tulane to lose one more game. That way they have 2 losses in conference. Eastern Carolina need them to lose to Memphis, because Memphis is still a good team. That puts Eastern Carolina at 2 losses in conference. Then finally, you need, let me see here, Memphis. Well, actually, you don't even need Memphis to lose to Navy anymore, because Memphis lost last night. So basically, you need Navy and UNT to win out in conference, and all the other teams at top to lose one game. That way, with Navy and UNT being the only teams in contention to play in the conference title game, UNT beat Navy head-to-head last week. So UNT has the tiebreaker. That means American Conference Championship game in Denton on Friday night, Conference Championship weekend, which Navy wins. They beat UNT wins. They beat Navy in the rematch. UNT off to the CFP. James Madison and San Diego State notwithstanding. Maybe we can get into those other G5 teams a little later in the show, but coming up next year on Fan University, we're going to go to the phones, because we have 2 hosts normally of the show that are not here today.
Yeah, we do.
We're still going to talk to them, all right? So we're going to talk to both Brendan Baxter out in Lubbock and Jake Riepma in Morgantown, get their thoughts on some of the day of college football. And look, Texas Tech, BYU, we got to keep talking it. We'll do all that next year on Fan University, 105.3 The Fan.
Hellsberg Gifts checked off the list. Now, time for wrap.
say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut. But that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay, great.
Do you think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
And it's back to the Fan University. This segment is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. Back-to-back #1 Chevy dealership in the world. They've got more new Chevys than anyone, and they're all priced to sell. Silverados, Tahoes, Blazers, Malibu's, Equinox, and more. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 and 2024.
It's Fan University here on 105.3 The Fan. Myself, Carter Freeman. We got Jacob Ray on my other side. We got Kevin Walker on the ones and twos. And right now on the line, We have Brennan Baxter, who is out in Lubbock, Texas right now. His podcast, Broadway Shuffle, had a live show yesterday. They had Holly Rowe on. It looked like a lot of fun. And I'm just looking at game day right now. Whenever they're going to show this crowd, I'm going to try and find you in the crowd, Brennan. What is the scene like out in Lubbock right now?
Carter, what's up, man? Great to be here. I got to say, the scene in Lubbock and the energy here, it's just unlike anything I've seen. You won't be able to find me because I'm too short out here in the crowd, and I've stepped away. But you just feel the energy. You felt it since I got in town on Wednesday. People have been camping out, walked through Raider Alley. There were 3,000 kids walking through. It's just been an unbelievable environment. Game day, people have been out here since 4 a.m. It's been unreal.
Hey, Brennan, I know we posed this question about 2 weeks ago, and we talked about who is the most famous person that you think you've ran into. Who have you ran into this weekend that you'd like to share?
Man, Danny Amendola has been out here. There's been a lot of Taj Brooks I saw. I mean, I obviously got to talk to Holly Rowe. President Skubanek from Texas Tech was out here. Everyone and anyone. I have not seen Patrick Mahomes yet, but I'm heading down to the field right now. So hopefully I'll be able to catch Patrick here in about 5 minutes or so. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, try and get him on the show next time you can.
I promise you I am putting in work for Fan University. I can guarantee you that.
Heck yes, that's what I want to hear.
We need a promo. We need him saying you're listening to 105.3 The Fan.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's been a business trip for Fan University, and I'll make sure to get that promo.
All right, I'd love to hear it. Now, Brennan, we've got L.J. Martin, the BYU running back, is going to play in this game most likely. You as a Texas Tech fan, you've never really been in this situation before. I understand, we've talked about this all season, how good Texas Tech has looked, but you still expect there to be a letdown. You going into this game, seeing the team the way they've played, is that still in the back of your mind, or are you feeling that Texas Tech at home is going to take care of business today?
I think it's always in the back of your mind on if you have such a big momentum and everyone's amped, and is the team going to come out ready to go? You mentioned L.J. Martin. He's a great running back for BYU, so that definitely helps them. And I think if BYU is able to run the ball effectively, which will be difficult against Texas Tech and the top rush defense in the country, that I do think that'll help benefit them. But, man, I mean, the energy is going to carry right over from what the scene is at game day into the stadium. I mean, this place is packed, and I think it's going to really help the Red Raiders. I actually love the 11 a.m. kick for this team. It is on fire right now in Lubbock. I've never seen this scene before.
Brennan Baxter joining us on Fan University. Brennan, you mentioned that you were at the last time College Game Day was in Lubbock in 2008. How would you compare this weekend to that 2008 matchup with Texas?
I think it's more heightened this weekend because of what's on the line when it comes to just the Big 12 and the college football playoff. The Texas game had more of the rivalry and the hatred and Bob Knight calling the game, and that one was packed, don't get me wrong, but they have taken it to a new level here. And I was 12 years old then. Being an adult and seeing it from this perspective, it's unbelievable. I think people understand what this could mean for Texas Tech, and they've shown out. It's been a wild scene.
All right, Brennan, we're going to get you out of here, but before you go, what's the final score? How does it go down tonight? Or this morning, actually, like you mentioned, it's 11 a.m. game.
I think the Red Raiders are going to be having a party in the fourth quarter. And I got 31-13 Texas Tech. It's going to be fun, man. But I miss you guys there in DFW. I wish I was there as well, too. A piece of my heart still at Fan University this morning.
Don't worry. We carry that with you here in the new building. I'm getting it all broken in for us for next Saturday when we're all here.
I can't wait to see it.
It'll be a lot of fun. But, look, enjoy it, man. If they do have a party on the sideline, get some chicken wings like Georgia did in the national championship game against TCU a couple years ago.
Will do, man. Hey, Carter, appreciate it. Jacob, y'all have a great morning. I'll see y'all next week.
Hey, and if they start flipping cars and lighting stuff on fire, get a video.
I will. Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Brennan. All right. Brennan Baxter, host of Fan University, host of the Broadway Shuffle podcast, out on assignment in Lubbock right now covering that. And you could even hear a little bit of the scene behind him as he was walking to the stadium. I mean, he's mentioned it. All of the ESPN people have mentioned it. All of the videos on Twitter we've seen. It looks like a madhouse, and I'm very excited to see what the environment is like in Jones AT&T Stadium for this game.
I'll be honest with you. I'm shocked he was able to get phone service. I don't think I was ever able to get service in that stadium, and I wonder if what we were hearing was the student section, because I've seen some videos. It's piling in pretty well already if he's going onto the field. So, yeah, I'm super happy for him. I'm jealous. I wish I could be there, but I'm glad he's enjoying his weekend.
But you're here talking sports, college football, Fan University. That's what we love. And you know what else we love? We love us some Jake Riepma, who's on the other side of the country. He is in the Eastern time zone right now, Morgantown, West Virginia, to see West Virginia and Colorado. Not quite the game with national implications like BYU Texas Tech is, but Jake Riepma, how you doing? You sent us some videos of the tailgating out there in Morgantown. What's it like up there right now?
Guys, it's great to be on Fan University this morning, and despite this being two of the worst teams in the Big 12, statistically and any other way you look at this matchup, it has done nothing to diminish the vibes in Morgantown, West Virginia. The tailgating scene, they're about to do the man walk to the Coal Rock, which obviously has significance here at West Virginia University. I haven't had a Coach Prime sighting yet, but I do have a sideline pass, and I plan on rattling the Colorado bus as best as I can with as many let's go Mountaineers as I can get. But, man, it is a scene here in Morgantown, West Virginia. How are you guys?
Dude, we're doing great. The show's flying by. I mean, we've got just barely over an hour until these games kick, which we're all excited for. Now, you get to see Julian Lewis, the former five-star Colorado quarterback, make his first career start today. You going to try and rattle him too?
Yeah, I think so. Given the strength of the Mountaineers, and I say that very, very loosely, but they defensively, there's not a lot that is standing in the way of Colorado as far as the ability to put some points up. But this is a West Virginia team that's coming off a win over Houston, and they did so offensively. A number of different contributors that were able to, jump on that Houston team that got a late win last night against UCF. So it's wide open in the Big 12. But let me just tell you, these are two teams that will not be competing for any type of postseason accolades. That's for sure.
All right, Jake, I got to ask you because my Texas Tech Red Raiders play West Virginia the last game of the season. West Virginia has to win out to become bowl eligible. Little prediction time from Jake Riepma. Do they get it done?
You know what? Today, it starts with today. It is Military Appreciation Day, and you guys know I love a good uniform and helmet conversation. I like what the Mountaineers are doing today with the military appreciation. They're going with the West Virginia State logo on the helmet, but with the stars and stripes on the inside of the logo. So they're not going with a camo look today. It's still the navy blue and yellow, but with the American flag stars and stripes West Virginia logo on the helmet. But as far as being bowl eligible, listen, I'll believe it. I'll cheer for it today, but I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, my goodness, this is a team that has really struggled in Rich Rod's first year, but he talked about bringing, that hard edge and bringing back that 2007 team with Steve Slayton and Pat White, who are actually going to be honored today on field, a little commemoratory celebration of that team. So that'll be a lot of fun today, but the Mountaineers being bowl eligible, it ain't happening, so don't bet on it.
and if it does happen, it's going to come at the expense of your Texas Tech Red Raiders, Jacob, so I don't think you want that.
That ain't happening, guys. That ain't happening.
Okay, Jake, last question for you before we got to go. Morgantown, as a Big 12 city, you've been to a couple. What's it like? Yep. What are some of the cool things that you can do there if you ever make a road trip as an opposing fan?
Oh, I love that question. Start with Mountain State Brewing. Mountain State Brewing, delicious food. We went to Kegler's last night for a little college football Friday night, watching my Northwestern Wildcats lose to USC. But I'll tell you what, tough one. The atmosphere, you had people starting the Let's Go West Virginia chants Friday night before a Saturday game inside the restaurant. So Kegler's is a good spot. We're going to hit up Mountain Mamas, which everybody knows, the Country Roads song. So there's a number of different bars and watering holes that are named after different parts of the Country Roads songs. Mountain Mamas is one of them. But also, too, it's called Cooper's Rock. It's a state park. You get an overlook of really the entire state of West Virginia. It's absolutely gorgeous. But just as far as a college town, Morgantown checks every single box. I mean, it's country roads, it's long rolling hills. This time of year, there's still the color change from the fall foliage, which is nice. And the Mountaineer faithful just bleed West Virginia blue. They don't have any pro teams in the state of West Virginia. They're a Big 12, obviously not a powerhouse, but a Big 12 athletic department that just lives and dies for their Mountaineers. So it is absolutely worth putting Milan Pushkar Stadium on the bucket list. The tailgating scene's awesome. There's a number of different spots to hit up post-game, and yeah, we're soaking it all in here in Morgantown, West Virginia. Definitely a bucket list stop in the Big 12.
Look, the videos you sent look like a lot of fun. You've got me much more invested in this West Virginia-Colorado game than I ever thought I would be today. So, Jake, enjoy it. Hopefully, West Virginia puts up another 50 on Colorado like Arizona and Utah have done the last 2 weeks, and we will talk to you. See you in studio at the new place next weekend.
Absolutely, guys. Love it. Love you guys. Appreciate the time, and keep doing great things on Fan University. And we got a weekday episode this week on Tuesday.
That's true. That's a good point. You'll be able to hear Fan University from 10 to 2 this coming Tuesday on Veterans Day. So, yeah, you had a little makeup show, I guess, for all of us kind of being out and about. You will get all of Fan University in studio together this upcoming Tuesday. But there you go. Brendan and Jake on assignment. A lot of fun to hear from them. I always think it's cool. We like to talk boots on the ground here at Fan University. I've been out to South Bend. I've been up to Norman. Jake's been to now Morgantown and BYU. So, Jacob, at some point, we got to get you out somewhere.
We got to. And that's what we love about Jake, right? He's not at the biggest game. It's West Virginia and Colorado. But he makes it sound like it is the most luscious place he could ever be. He is in his paradise, and I'm happy for him.
Me too. You know, like I said, I'm much more invested in this West Virginia-Colorado game where somebody has to get their second Big 12 win. It's neither of them seem like they really want to win Big 12 games, but someone is going to end up with their second Big 12 win of the season. But
if Julian Lewis has a bad game, I think we give Jake the credit, right? I mean, I'm sure he's chirping him on the sideline, right?
He has a sideline pass, man. He's going to be right in his ear. Like he's gonna do the Connor Stallions at Michigan, disguise himself in the Colorado gear just to get into those Colorado players' heads. Not like they really need it with how poor their defense has been playing. But it's Fan University here on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, got a little Carter's Corner, and we had the first college football playoff rankings of the year drop last Tuesday. Plenty to get into there, plus a little more on some of the games from last night. We'll get into all that next year. Fan University, 105.3 The Fan.
The more time you give, the more our crush grows. Together we continue to...
Uber Eats has a low fee product? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be what was it?
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios, it's your college football fix. Welcome to Fan University on 105.3 The Fan.
That's right, it is Fan University right here on 105.3 The Fan. I am Carter Freeman, your host for this morning. I got Jacob Ray on the opposite side of the new studio here for 105.3 The Fan and Odyssey here. We got our new building that we're working in, but you know what we still got? We got college football, and that's what we love. We got Kevin Walker on the ones and twos. Jake and Brennan are on assignment. If you were listening last segment, you could hear Brennan in Lubbock and Jake in Morgantown. But right now, we're going to get into a little Carter's Corner, which is my segment, and the intro sounds a little bit like this.
Carter, anything? Oh, that's right. You don't come on the radio.
Carter Goodell.
He's Carter Freeman.
Carter Freeman?
Always a good day to prove Gavin Dawson wrong. I do indeed come on the radio, and I'm on the radio right now. So here it is, some Carter's Corner. What I wanted to do today for Carter's Corner, or the Saturday Sailgate, as I see the 575 calling the show, which I appreciate you listening to my segments on the KNC Masterpiece. That is a play on the Tuesday Tailgate, but it's Saturday. So it doesn't start with a T. It's, Saturday Sailgate. That's just how it works.
What do you call it on Sunday then? Like if you do it again tomorrow, like what if you were on air Sunday? Would you go Saturday? Would you go Sunday Sailgate? Would you go Sailgate 2 days in a row?
I think I would Sailgate 2 days in a row. I would absolutely.
Not like a Soulgate, like a SU?
No. I mean, Sunday, no, it's got to be a Sailgate. Yeah. It's got to be a Sailgate. But Saturday Sailgate, Carter's Corner, whatever you want to call this here, that's what we're going to do. And how we're going to start it is we're going to get into these college football playoff rankings, okay? I don't know how all the Tolos feel about it. Let us know, 877-881-1053. Twitch, YouTube. Do you like that they release these once a week? I personally do. I like that we get something new to argue and debate about every week. That's just the nature of college football is arguing, and it's all subjective with how you think teams should be ranked and where they end up ranked. So I'm personally a fan of it. We're going to get 4 or 5 more of these before we get the actual unveiling of the CFP rankings. That would be early December. But we got our first ones this last Tuesday. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. Number 4, Alabama. Those would be your 4 teams with your buys to open the college football playoff. They would end up playing in the bowl game of their choosing, and they would not get to host a home playoff game, but they would get a bye in that scenario. Now, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but none of us here have any issue with Ohio State being number 1, right?
No. I mean, we talked about it last week. I think they're the number 1 team in the country by a wide margin. I think Indiana, A&M, and Alabama are kind of in that. If we're doing a tier list, right, Ohio State's the S tier. We've got Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, who, I mean, we could look back at this, and this could be a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase kind of situation with this team. And Indiana's good. I would have loved to see Indiana-Ohio State match up. I think that really sucks that we missed that in this round of scheduling. I made my peace with A&M last week.
Yes, you did.
They're a good team right now. Can they sustain that throughout the rest of the season like they haven't done, like, ever? Maybe. I think Alabama's good. Ty Simpson's my current Heisman favorite. If I had to pick right now, it'd be him. It'd be Jacob Rodriguez, number 2. There you go.
I have seen Jacob Rodriguez jump up, the Texas Tech linebacker, into more of this conversation.
He's number 1 in the fan poll right now.
Which sounds about right. Looking at the scene in Lubbock right now, that's a lot of Texas Tech fans. I think
twice yesterday.
Yeah, that is the least surprising thing I have heard all morning. But Jacob Rodriguez, his numbers do compare favorably to like Manti Te'o, 13 years ago, who ended up being a Heisman finalist.
His girlfriend's real though.
That's, yes, his fiance, right?
Fiance, yeah.
Allegedly.
Think they're engaged. I have seen pictures. I never saw this with Manti Te'o, but I'm with you, Jacob. Ohio State's the clear number 1. They're allowing, like we said, 7 points a game. They might have the 5 best players in the country, like Arvell Reese on defense, Jeremiah Smith on offense, and Julian Sayin, their quarterback, has finally gotten some of this Heisman discussion because he's steered the ship. Yes, Ohio State has a ton of talent. They make it easier on you to steer the ship, but you still need to steer the ship well. And Julian Sayin has done that with flying colors this entire season. So Ohio State, I definitely think is clear number 1. Indiana ahead of A&M. is interesting. You can look at Indiana having the better singular win right now, going on the road and beating Oregon, but if you really want to get nitpicky with it, and the committee clearly doesn't with the way they ranked it, but A&M has played an SEC schedule, and they have a key road win like Indiana does. They beat Notre Dame on the road in week 3 of this season. I mean, Notre Dame's 10th in the poll right now. Notre Dame, if they win out, the way the committee set things up, they're going to have a clear path into the playoff despite losing to Miami and to A&M early in the season. And Oregon, that could all get thrown, totally into chaos today if they go lose to Iowa.
And I think you could argue, I think there is a case for Marcel Reed to be in the Heisman conversation. I think he's one of the.
I would say he is in the Heisman conversation.
Yeah, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the country right now. Yeah, no doubt. And I think if he wins it, you can look at that Notre Dame game as a signature game from him. He had 360 passing yards, 2 touchdowns.
And he led them at the end of that game with his arm down the field to win. They didn't do it on the ground that game. They had to do it through Marcel Reed's arm. And that was the first time we got to see A&M like, okay, Marcel Reed, he's got Casey Concepcion, he's got Mario Craver, he's got receivers now, and he's able to get the ball to them. So I know it's the first rankings. It's a bit hemming and hawing. I think once we see the season play out, A&M definitely has a chance to rise higher. I think it'll be interesting if we get to the end of the season, say top 3 teams all undefeated right now. If Indiana beats undefeated Ohio State and A&M ends the SEC schedule undefeated, then you'll have a really interesting conversation for who should be 1 and who should be 2.
I mean, Indiana plays Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue.
And fun fact about Indiana-Penn State, that's the big noon kickoff game today. Yeah. Indiana's never won at Penn State. They've beaten Penn State twice in their entire football history.
Well, Carter, I don't know if we're doing Super Dogs or not later, but
we might have to fit that in there because that could be a little fun. And look, Penn State has hung around in some of these games since they fired James Franklin. They haven't won any of them, but they are hanging around in them, although they did not cover against Ohio State last weekend. Okay, some more things here in Carter's Corner on the College Football Playoff poll. Texas Tech, they're ranked first time ever in the CFP poll. 11 years it took them to finally weasel their way into the CFP poll. But not just that, they're in the top 10. I believe they're 8th, right, Jacob?
Yeah. When was the last time a team's first ranking in the college football poll was top 10? Besides maybe like the first 2 years it happened.
You are asking great questions that I want to find the answer to. I just do not have them off the top of my head.
Because you'd think if it was their first time in the ranking, I mean, you're probably thinking 21 to 25, right? They're 8th.
Yeah.
Top 10.
All the way up there. And deservingly so. Yeah. Texas Tech has looked like, I've said several times with KNC, how I think Texas Tech is not just the best team in the Big 12. I think they're one of the best in the country. I think they could go toe-to-toe with any SEC or Big 10 team that has looked really, really good earlier this season. But
because of that defense.
It is.
That would be the 2021 Cincinnati Bearcats.
And they would have jumped in. Yeah, they would have been. They would have been low. They would have run around 8 or 9, I would have think. But
they were undefeated when they got ranked too.
Because I wanted to be a smart ass and say that, well, the very first CFP ranking, any of the top 10 teams, that was their first time there.
That's why I put that precursor in there so you couldn't do that.
So,
I was reading your face.
I held off. And if you go look at the initial CFP poll from 2014, I believe it was, I remember sitting in a bar in Norman, Oklahoma watching it. I know OU wasn't any good that season, but it was Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Florida State were your top 4. And I just remember looking up, and I'm like, Mississippi State's the number 1 team in the country. This is just so bizarre to actually see that.
That was Jameis Winston, right, at Florida State?
Yes. That was a fraudulent Florida State team. They were undefeated, but that was not a good Florida State team.
Because that's when they played Mariota and Oregon.
Yes, yeah. And they got exposed. But
they did get exposed.
We won't go into the past anymore. Another thing about the CFP poll, this very first one we got on Tuesday, Miami has been the big talking point. Miami's ranked 18th. Okay, they had just lost to SMU the weekend before these polls came out, right? Not a great loss. Look, sorry to SMU fans, but SMU has 3 losses. They had just lost to Wake Forest the week before, unranked. And I know it was on the road for Miami, and that was Miami's first game outside of the state of Florida all season. Even their road games that they'd played earlier this year had been in the state of Florida. So that was their first trip outside of the Sunshine State, and they lose it. So they're down at 18. Notre Dame is at 10, okay? We already mentioned Miami beat Notre Dame to begin the season. Both of them have the same record. They're both 7-2. It's a bit silly to me that the committee looks as punishing Miami for their losses more than they are Notre Dame. And I understand Notre Dame's are closer. Miami's may not look as good, but are we going to only reward teams for their losses, or should we reward them for their wins?
And I think we're also looking at a situation where I think the committee likes to ride a storyline. Like they'll ride a hot team, I think, more than they'd like to admit.
It's human nature. It's been that way the entire history of the CFP poll.
I'm not going to say when Notre Dame wins out and they finish 10-2, they're not going to leave out an Irish team on a 10-game win streak. It's not going to happen. The first 2 weeks don't matter at that point. So
it's, again, this first ranking, I always love to just, kind of put that over this entire conversation. A lot of this will get sorted out. But if you're looking at these rankings, it's ridiculous to me to have an 8-game gap for teams with the same record when one of them beat the other team.
I want to ask the question that no one else is going to ask. Is North Texas going to be in it next week when they do it, now that Memphis lost?
Ooh. I think Tulane's going to jump in because Tulane beat Memphis on the road. And by the way, if you're a college football team, do not do a blackout on Friday night. That just does not go well. UNT did it, lost to USF. Baylor did it, they lost to Auburn. Memphis did it last night, lost to Tulane.
Hey, Memphis almost came back.
They did. That was a close game, but they had to put their backup quarterback in because Brendan Lewis, their starter, was hurt. I don't think, because UNT's on bye, I don't think the committee will look at it and say, oh, okay, we need to bump them in. The CFP doesn't talk about the teams that are right underneath the, also receiving votes like the AP does or the coaches poll does. So we don't know how they look at a lot of those teams because none of the group of 5 teams were ranked in this first CFP poll. In the mock-up that they released on Tuesday, Memphis was in the 12th spot. So they were the highest ranked group of 5 team, but they weren't in the top 25. So we'll just have to see. I mean, Tulane, that's a big win for them. Tulane's 2 losses are a bad loss to UTSA and then to Ole Miss early in the season, which Ole Miss is now a top 6 team. So that's not the worst loss in the world from a group of 5 perspective. I think it's different looking at group of 5 versus Power 4. But I don't think UNT is going to jump in just yet. UNT wins out, I think all bets are off. And there's a fun thing about the Americans Conference Championship tiebreaker rules is that if you're in a team in the American and you're ranked in the final CFP poll, you're automatically in the game. So you could have 3 or 4 teams that are tied at 1 loss at the top of the conference, but say UNT and UNT and Tulane are ranked, and then you've got Eastern Carolina and Navy aren't. You would have UNT and Tulane would play in the conference title game. Like, that's one thing that these conferences do now, especially some of the group of 5 ones, is they realize the importance of having the visibility of being ranked, all of that they're just like, okay, if you're ranked, you're automatically in. Because people already know your name, you got a number next to it, so we're already going to get you into this, get you into the national spotlight, get you in front of the committee's eyes, right? So I don't think UNT is going to be ranked just yet, but just keep winning, baby. That's all you have to do if you're UNT, and they've got one of the easier schedules to end their American season as opposed to Memphis. Memphis has a gauntlet. I mean, it was Tulane. They just played USF. They got to play Navy. I think they play Eastern Carolina as well. So a lot of that will get sorted out. But if you're UNT, all you have to do is keep winning. You finish 11-1, you're going to be on a lot of people's minds.
I'm glad they've stepped up too, because I think one of the main questions coming into the season was because last year we had Boise State as kind of that other team that needed to make it. And they had Genty. They had the storyline. I think with Genty going to the NFL, a lot of people were like, well, what now? Like, what do we have now? And I think Garrett Nussmeier and UNT have stepped up to the plate in a huge way.
Drew Mestemaker, not Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah, Drew Mestemaker.
Drew Mestemaker is a better quarterback right now than Garrett Nussmeier.
I think I
did not think going into the season would be the case.
A lot of people are better than Garrett Nussmeier this season.
I picked LSU and Garrett Nussmeier to go to the national championship game, and then I picked Penn State to win the national championship game. So both the teams that I picked to go to the national title game this year fired their head coaches before the end of October.
Brian Kelly and James Franklin is a bold play by you.
It was one of my bolder. Look, I've picked NC State to the playoff before, Penn State to the playoff before, and those did not work out.
Yeah.
So, but look, with the group of 5 stuff, it is very interesting because Memphis lost last night, and that's something that we're getting texts and we get that from the 979. They didn't help their case at all. I think Memphis's case is done. If you're 2 losses in the American, one, you're probably not even going to make the American Conference title game. And if you're not in that, you really don't have a shot at the playoff. for any of those smaller conferences, you need to make that game and really only have one. If one conference loss, if you're Tulane, you could maybe get away with the loss to Ole Miss as well. But James Madison is sitting there in the Sun Belt at a 7-1, 8-1 right now. Their only loss was a 14-point loss to Louisville, who's 15th in the poll.
Memphis dropped to 6th in the American rankings.
So, and they've got 2 games left, also against some of the top teams in the Americans. So, look, that was a good result for UNT. Just the other thing is I mentioned the kind of the path that the rooting interest that you have for the rest of the conference. You really need South Florida to drop a game, because if you end up in a tiebreaker with them and it's just the two of y'all, you would have to go to South Florida. And if you couldn't beat them at home, I have a tough time believing you could beat them on the road. And South Florida's a wagon, man. I know they lost to Memphis, but I was at that UNT South Florida game, and just looking at the way that they play, how big they are, how strong they are compared to some of the other teams, you understand why they beat Florida earlier this season.
Talk about a group of 5 team that's not scared to spend some money.
Not at all.
They'll build up a roster for you.
They spend like a Power 4 program.
Yep.
And just that's where they want to be. I think that's where every team wants to be if you're at the Group of 5 level, is you want to move up to the Power 4. How much room there is with these 18, 19 team conferences anymore, I don't know, but the history of college football is movement, is, teams, and they change conferences, they change affiliations, so that always goes. One last thing I do want to mention about the CFP. The ACC is a bit of a muddled mess. Virginia's in front right now. They do have a loss to NC State, but that doesn't count towards the conference race, because why would that make any sense? They play that as an out-of-conference game. Georgia Tech losing last week doesn't help. We went from a scenario where you could have had 3 ACC teams potentially make the CFP with Miami, Georgia Tech, and Virginia. You're really only looking at 1 CFP team from the ACC now. The way that they rank them to begin this, with the highest-ranked team being Virginia at 14, then it's Louisville, Georgia Tech, and Miami are all between 14 and 18. The winner of that group, of that cluster, they're going to be the only team, most likely, from the ACC that makes the CFP this year, which helps the SEC and the Big Ten potentially sneak a couple more teams in, or Notre Dame.
The ACC, I mean, they had a legitimate chance at having a Heisman winner and a possible national championship team. The 2 Heisman winners, because there was a point in time where Ruben Bain and Carson Beck were both, pretty highly held in that conversation, and now Carson Beck's fell off a cliff, which, I mean, I could have told you that was coming.
Yeah.
I haven't paid too much attention to Ruben Bain. I know he's still high on draft boards, but, I mean, when you're not winning games, the presence of an edge rusher really isn't very noticed nationwide like it was whenever they were the second best team in the country.
Yeah, Miami disappointing for sure. It's a tale as old as time, watching Mario Cristobal coach football. That just seems to happen. And one last thing here from the 972, they're looking at leaving out a 1-loss ACC champion. The ACC champion will be in.
Yeah.
So the top 5 ranked champions will make it in. So unless the ACC champion falls below the American champion and the Sun Belt champion, they'll be in, no matter where they're ranked.
They're just not going to be automatically a top 4 seed.
No, not anymore. That changed. So now it's top 4 teams ranked, period. They get buys, not 4 conference champions anymore. But your 5 conference champions, who are the highest ranked, they will make the CFP, and one of those will be an ACC team. It's Fan University here, 105.3 The Fan. Myself, Carter Freeman, Jacob Ray on the other side. And coming up next, we're going to do some sights and sounds. We haven't gotten any audio yet, and I do have 6 or 7 cuts I want to get to. Wisconsin's keeping Luke Fickell. I don't know why they're doing that, but we'll get into it next right here. 105.3 The Fan.
Take us with you way.
Basil babes.
Saffron squad?
Nutmeg maidens?
Pre-curd?
No.
Nutmeg maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
It's a Lola V product? I gotta remember that.
You know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean, like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freak me out a little bit.
University, this segment is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first, 214 or 817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there is never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to for car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
It's Fan University here on 105.3 The Fan, getting you guys all the Tolos ready for the day of college football. We got plenty of big games coming up today. Texas Tech BYU at 11, which you'll be able to hear right here on this station. And then later today at 6 o'clock, we're going to carry LSU at Alabama as well. So once we're off the air at 11, don't worry. Just keep it right here on 105.3 The Fan. All the college football that you need to hear, especially if you can't watch it on YouTube TV, you'll be able to hear it right here, 105.3 The Fan.
Clark, can I tell you a secret?
You can tell everybody a secret.
I'm a little nervous for today's game.
I figured the closer we got to it, it would set in for you.
Yeah, this is...
like you said, this is the biggest game in school history.
And not only is it the biggest game in school history, but this is new for me. I'm a Chicago sports fan. Bears have always sucked my whole life. Cubs won a World Series, but I was young, right?
Gosh, I guess you were. I was out of college by the time they won that.
I think I was 13 when they won. So I remember it, and I remember watching it. But I wasn't that invested, right? Blackhawks have been good, but I'm not a big hockey guy. The Bulls have never been good in my lifetime. This is genuinely the first time I've had a really good team, and they've had championship aspirations. So this is a big day for me.
It's a big day for Tech too. I mean, Tech through their history, they have not had this.
Yeah.
It's a big thing I always like to talk about is with these college teams in this new era where you can spend more money, maybe level the playing field a little bit, is some of these programs have to learn how to win. And Texas Tech, up to this point, that's why I had doubts going into the season. Texas Tech hadn't won games like this before. There had been talk that, we're bringing this back, we're bringing that back, and it hadn't come through. Whether it was Cliff Kingsbury, whether it was Matt Wells, even some of those late Mike Leach teams before he left, that just wasn't there. And some of Joey McGuire's early teams, too. Joey McGuire's had a lot of success in the Big 12. They've had winning records in conference back-to-back-to-back years for the first time since Mike Leach, but it hasn't resulted in title game appearances. It hasn't resulted in CFP talk. We mentioned last segment, this is the first time Texas Tech has ever been ranked in the CFP poll. So it's a big thing learning how to win, but look, we have a Texas Tech host normally on this show, Brennan Baxter. we've talked to Joey McGuire. I'm an OU fan. I'm an OU grad, and so I'm not a Tech fan, but I see why it's so easy to buy into that and everything they're doing there. Plus, spending all the money definitely helps.
I know we're about to get into Sights and Sounders, but I think it was kind of the perfect storm, too, because you had Taj Brooks leaving, obviously. It would have been great to have him this year, right? But you had a two-headed monster at running back coming in that were both freshmen that Taj Brooks said last season, I think he said about Cam Dickey, that Cam Dickey was better than he was when he was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives a lot of promise. And you've seen teams that look to spend money, but they look to just kind of put a Band-Aid on a problem, right? Texas Tech came into this season and was like, dude, our defense sucks. We're going to overhaul the entire thing. They get from the defensive line to the safeties and everything in between. You've got a playmaker at every level of the defense, and that's something that not only has Texas Tech not really seen, but I don't know if the Big 12 has seen that as often as we think they have.
No, not at a school with the lack of national recognition that Texas Tech has.
I mean, you've seen it from Texas and OU, but outside of that, not really.
You get pop-up years, stretches from Baylor, from Kansas State,
Oklahoma
from
State.
TCU as well.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned.
But usually those pop-up years was because like the team wasn't great, and then all of a sudden you run into a situation where, we've got 10 seniors on defense. And it's like, okay, this is now an elite group. Like, they've got guys of all ages on that defense, and they've got guys who came from everywhere.
And they've got buy-in, too.
Yeah.
I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Joey McGuire, that's something the ESPN people who are there for game day in Lubbock have talked about, is these guys have the money, but they also understand the assignment.
Yeah.
They understand the mission, and that's what's made them so successful. But, hey, Sights and Sounds here, Fan University, 105.3 The Fan. You guys got a good one in Lubbock. I think Joey McGuire is one of the best coaches in the conference, if not the country.
I do, too.
Wisconsin, not quite. Wisconsin's got Luke Fickell as their head coach. He's been there 3 years now. He had a great number of success at Cincinnati, took them to the college football playoff when they were still in the American Conference. A group of 5 team and a 4-team CFP is something I don't think we appreciate enough. He has not had nearly the same level of success at Wisconsin. They have had a losing record in conference play every time, every season that they've been there. But he's coming back next year. The AD at Wisconsin, Chris McIntosh, announced that earlier this week that he's coming back, and he spoke on a Wisconsin, media about the decision to bring Luke Fickell back.
What changes will be made as we move forward to the offseason that you believe will put Wisconsin on a better path to success?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that this season has shown us is that we can identify the challenges and the challenges that we've faced this season, and that allows us to develop a plan. That's a plan that we've begun to execute on. It's not like that starts today, and I think it begins with the people around our program, in and around our program. I think as I mentioned, every aspect of our program will be evaluated and scrutinized, and I think it starts when I say in and around, it starts at the top. It starts with me. It starts with Coach Fickell. It extends to our coaching staff, to everyone that's within our program. I think one of the things that I'm most pleased with is the alignment that we have. When you talk about from the top being Chancellor Mnuchin, and the alignment around the need for us to invest in our program, continue to invest in our program.
So we figured that out in year 3 with Fickell, that we need to be aligned and we need to now invest in the program.
Yeah, of course he's going to say they're aligned because they said he's coming back.
Yeah. I think it's ridiculous to, in this modern era of college football, let Wisconsin get to the point where they were at and say, okay, now's our time to do it.
Yeah.
That you were so far behind the curve and so just had all the pieces removed from each other that it didn't work. And the fact that the AD is the guy that brought Fickell in and then did not give him any support, did not give him any money to invest in the program as the rest of the Big Ten. You look at Indiana, a school that's never had that kind of success, and what they've invested in it with Curt Cignetti and all, any NIL deals they have, and look at the immediate success they have.
Yeah, and you can't just, it's not like you go from being a bad team and then you wake up one morning, it's like, oh, let's spend money now. There's things you need to do to create the window for you to spend money. That's by recruiting well. That's by finding some diamonds in the rough. You get a 3-star quarterback that works out and he ends up being a 4-year starter. You find some young guys, but they need to overhaul this team, and they need to do a better job of recruiting, specifically high school recruits that aren't going to cost as much money. And you need to develop those players so that you can open up a window where it's like, hey, we've got 7 returning starters on the defense. Let's go out and spend some money and just turn that into an elite unit. We've got 2 good wide receivers, but we don't have that X. Let's go spend a lot of money on that X and bring him in, So it's all about creating the window for them, and I don't think they're anywhere close to that. And to be honest with you, this feels a lot like Billy Napier at Florida last year, where they said they were committed to him, and then he just sucked this year, and it's like, oh, we're not committed to you anymore. Goodbye.
And with Billy Napier, they at least had a nice end to their 2024 season. With DJ Lagway, they're like, okay, there are things we can look at that we can build off of that. Florida didn't do that. Wisconsin doesn't have that. Wisconsin, you mentioned recruiting, they would always get 2 or 3 or maybe low 4-star guys from Iowa or Minnesota and turn them into incredible talents that took them to Rose Bowls, that took them not quite to the CFP, but to Big Ten championship games, maybe a Big Ten title every once in a while. Luke Fickell has not done that. And that's not going to change even if they invest more money in it, because you can throw money at the portal and you can throw money at X, Y, and Z, but if you're not developing that and creating a place where people can develop and want to be good, you're going to end up in the same spot you are now.
And that's exactly where it was at Cincinnati. It was kind of just the perfect storm. Everything kind of just fell into place for him, and he was a good enough coach to not screw it up. And that was the team that started the conversation of do we really want these guys playing against Alabama in the first round and getting waxed on national television?
I do, because I think you should earn it in the regular season. I will always defend the 4-team CFP. I think the 4-team CFP was in a Power 5 era. When you have 5 power conferences, there's always going to be good debate on the final team. And that's what college football is all about. It's about arguing with your buddies about who's better and who's going to beat who. But that way you get all the best teams in, you still get all the debate, and then the bowl games still matter for the other teams, the other conferences that were good, just not good enough to make it in. I got one more clip for us here in Sights and Sounds. Staying on the coaching subject, Auburn no longer has a head coach. Hugh Freeze got fired last week after Auburn scored 3 points against a bad Kentucky team at home and lost.
Jackson Arnold.
So, yes, and look, it's funny to see. Nobody could have seen the struggles Jackson Arnold had coming from a mile away as a fan who lived through it for 10 or 11 games last season. But Hugh Freeze is gone. So now there's a lot of talk going on around about his time at Auburn and maybe even how it started. And Ryan Brown was on the Saturday Down South podcast talking about Hugh Freeze himself thought he wasn't prepared for this job.
I had someone tell me that knows Hugh very well. I want to say he took the job in December, January. I want to say it was in the spring. Talked to him, and this was right after he'd taken the job. He had not coached a game yet. And he told this guy, I think I've made a mistake. And it wasn't Auburn. It was how much the SEC had changed just since he had been in the SEC. He was slapped in the face with a new way of doing things in college football, especially at a power school like the SEC. And it was eye-opening for him. And I think he realized pretty early on, I may not be equipped for this. So I think he had doubts about even doing this before he ever coached a game. And it showed.
Shout out to Hugh Freeze for having more awareness than I thought he would. That's something he's never been very personable. That was always a knock at him when he was at Auburn, and even back to the time at Ole Miss and the reason he ended up getting fired from Ole Miss. But that is amazing to take a job and then immediately say, "Wow, I'm not ready for this."
Do you think that was Luke Fickell thought when he went to Wisconsin?
Luke Fickell was coming off a CFP appearance at a Group of 5 school. I got to think he had more confidence than that.
I'd hope so.
I would hope so. But there's been so many things coming out about Hugh Freeze and that Auburn job where There's stubbornness. There was sticking with certain players over. They could have pursued Cam Ward in the transfer portal several years ago. Hugh Freeze chose not to. They stick with Peyton Thorne. Cam Ward goes and ends up as a first overall pick. That would have helped Auburn a lot more than the way that Freeze ended up running that program. And we talk about investing like Wisconsin's about to. That's what Auburn did this year. I think that's a great parallel, is they put a lot more money into their program for this upcoming season, and it didn't end up working out. Hugh Freeze is no longer there. But I do think the Auburn job is a good one. So there's a lot of good ones out there.
Remind me, because my timeline's a little foggy here. Was Hugh Freeze there during the decision to move away from Bo Nix?
That's, no, that was Brian Harsin. That was the coach before him. Okay. But still, Hugh Freeze probably would have made the same mistake.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
It's Fan University here on 105.3 The Fan. We got one more segment left before Texas Tech and BYU kicks off. How about we jake around a little bit? We'll do that next on 105.3 The Fan.
Uber Eats had groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady? Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Nutmeg Maidens.
You said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean like your name. No, No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay.
University. This segment is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. Back-to-back #1 Chevy dealership in the world. They've got more new Chevys than anyone, and they're all priced to sell. Silverados, Tahoes, Blazers, Malibus, Equinox, and more. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference based on new Chevy registrations 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, new guy Jake, that's original.
Our buddy Jake, or is it Jacob? Who knows?
Jacob Ray, a.k.a. new guy Jake. He's Jaking your calls right now.
We're jaking around on a Saturday afternoon. I'm Jacob Ray. That's Carter Freeman. Have you guys ever been a part of this segment yet? My gambling segment?
I have not.
I think Kevin has, right?
My second time.
Second time. Okay. The way this works is I pick 10 of my favorite player props. We each pick 2. I can build a parlay with 6 players.
Okay.
So we each get 2 picks.
All right, I like this. You got some good numbers on here. I think there's some really interesting players that you picked.
Yeah, and I told you I'd talk about this in pre-show. Me being the Texas Tech graduate I am and the intellectual I am, last night when I was putting this list together, I didn't realize that 3 of my picks were playing last night. And for anybody out there who thinks that I don't know what I'm talking about with my overs and unders, here are the 3 lines we picked. Jaden Mavia, quarterback at USC. He needed 265. Finished with 299.
Yep.
Makai Lemon needed 84.5 receiving yards.
Finished like 160, didn't he?
165.
Yeah, he had a great game last night as USC beat Northwestern.
Connor Wegman, he did throw 3 interceptions, but all we needed was 2 tuds.
And he got them.
So 3 for 3.
Jake, you texted us last night. Houston is like the most overrated 7-2 team of all time when they go down to UCF.
They are.
And then what do they do?
I don't care if they won. They
Came
still
back
are.
and won.
They still suck.
That was a weird choice by UCF, too. Did you realize they put in their backup quarterback on their final drive?
I was actually driving home. So I turned it off whenever they were losing, and I was driving home from work, and I didn't turn it back on until it was over. So
it was a very Scott Frost decision at UCF to put the backup in when UCF was playing fine for most of the day. Although UCF only has 6 passing touchdowns on the season, that's second least in the country. Expectedly, Iowa has the least passing touchdowns in the country, but that was a wild stat.
Shocker there. All right, let's get rocking and rolling. First player prop, Ty Simpson. Does he get over under 1.5 passing touchdowns against LSU?
I say yes. I think Ty Simpson's going to have another good game. I think his bad game's going to come next week when they play Oklahoma. We'll maybe spoil my pick for next week then. But I do think at home, at night, I think Alabama's going to have a good game. And Ty Simpson's going to continue to keep himself in the Heisman conversation. So I think LSU's going to win that game Alabama will win that game by double digits. And I think Ty Simpson will have a big passing night.
Do you want to take that as one of your picks?
Do I have to take it now, or do we want to? Because there's some other ones on here that I would actually take over that.
We can probably take it later. Kevin, you want it?
Keep it going.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on it too. DeCorian Moore, the wide receiver out of Oregon, formerly of Duncanville High School. They beat my Allen Eagles, sadly. Over under 48.5 receiving yards at Iowa. Any takers?
I don't want this one. I think that's going to be a low-scoring game.
I do. That's my first one.
Good thing it's your segment.
Read it one more time.
It's right in front of you. Okay.
All right. Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry. I'm maintaining.
Hey, you printed these out for us.
I know. I'm maintaining things back
here. Have some of your own.
Yeah, I'm also going to stay away.
So that sounds like a Jacob one to me.
Mine.
You want the over in that?
Taking the over. I just think I think that's an offense that's made a lot of their money on some of the big plays this year, and Corian Moore is a matchup nightmare.
He is. His second game, and I know it was against Oklahoma State, who's not having a great season, but in his second game, he looked like a 5-year NFL veteran in his second career game.
I also really love the D Moore to D Moore connection. So
it is. That is nice.
Bear Bachmeier, quarterback of BYU. Oh, Carter's raising his hand.
I want this one.
42.5 rushing yards.
I want the over.
You want the over?
I want the over on Bear Bachmeier. I think BYU's Brennan earlier on the show predicted that Texas Tech's going to win this game by double digits. 31-13, I believe, was his final score. I think it's going to be closer than that. Not because Texas Tech isn't really good and they're at home. BYU, we talk about teams knowing how to win. BYU's learned how to win. This is the second year in a row they've started out 8-0. They've been road underdogs twice this season already, and they won both by double digits. And even if they don't win, I think they're going to keep the game close. Bear Bachmeier, number 47 that he wears in all, has been a very, very big part of that. So I think his running ability, we're going to see that a lot today. So I want this. I want Bear Bachmeier over 42.5 rushing yards.
Somewhere the hairs on the back of Jake Reitman's neck is standing out.
He sneezed because he knew someone was talking about him.
Number 4, Baron Morton, over under 258.5 passing yards versus BYU. I want to take this one unless you want it, Kevin.
I'm not going to lie. Looking at the list, I'm going to be lower down. So you can go ahead and take it.
I'm actually going to take the under on this one.
It would be wrong to not give Jacob the Texas Tech one in this scenario, right?
I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Baron Morton's a very good quarterback. I think he is a quarterback you win with. I don't think he's a quarterback you win because. I think if Texas Tech wins this game, it's going to be on the ground.
Cameron Dickey.
I think you could see a game from Baron Morton where he's in the realm of like 20 of 26 for 210 and 3 touchdowns, but your offense has 250 on the ground. So I think if he throws for over 250, I think if he's in closer to 300 range, I don't necessarily know if this team is winning at that point.
Because you're going to have to throw the ball. You think they might be down.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to cover my losses here. I'm going to take the under. And if he plays bad, at least I'll make money. Number 5, Julian Sayin, the Ohio State quarterback. This I thought was a pretty ridiculous line. Over under 301 passing yards on the road against Purdue.
You know Purdue hasn't beaten a Power 4 team since 2023, right?
I did know that.
Yeah. I don't want this one, but I don't hate that. I know 300 is a big number, but look,
it's a big number to chase.
It is, but when you got Julian Sayin or when you got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and you've done it all season long, I get it. I get why they'd set it that high. I want the next one. I want the next one you got on this list. Can you tell me what it is? Yes.
Over under 51.5 receiving yards versus Mizzou. You like the over or the under?
51.5? For Casey Concepcion. Him and Mario Craver for A&M kind of trade off who has the big game,
they do.
A&M is averaging in 3 road games 45 points a game. They scored 41 against Notre Dame, 45 against Arkansas, 49 against LSU.
Yeah.
They score no matter where they are. I think Casey Concepcion is going to be a big part of that for A&M today. So give me that. Give me Casey Concepcion over 51.5 receiving yards.
Kevin Walker hasn't been doing a lot of talking. Kevin...
Yeah, I'm done. You and I are done.
Allow me to guess. Can I guess what one of your picks is going to be?
Yeah, you can.
The Jeremiah Smith touchdown.
It is definitely a Jeremiah Smith anytime touchdown.
I'll put a K next to that.
You can also give me... that's a lot. Give me Jeremiah Love as well.
2 tuds?
It's a lot, but... I mean, if Notre Dame's as good as the playoff committee thinks they are, they better.
Jeremiah Love's as good as we think he is.
That is fair. That is fair. But
future Chicago Bear.
You can't talk about Notre Dame without talking about Jeremiah Love.
We don't have sticky notes in here yet, do we?
We do not.
Oh, okay.
We just have run sheets. Well, we will have the wall it takes at some point. I took those down from the old building on Friday.
Okay, good call.
Unearthed some old ones on there. Those are pretty fun.
You can leave the one that I had about the Jets at the old building though, because that actually didn't happen ever. Do I? Can I have
you said 2? The Jets would be a playoff team.
Can I have 2 or do I have to have 3?
Just 2.
Okay, then those are my 2.
All right. Jeremiah Love,
Stick
Julian.
With the Jeremiahs.
The Jeremiahs for you. I got Casey Concepcion and Bear Bachmeier. And you've got Baron Morton and DeCorian Moore.
Yep, there it is.
All right.
You want to do picks?
Let's do picks really quick. We got about 3 minutes left before we're going to get you out to Lubbock for this Texas Tech BYU game. So let's start there. BYU, Texas Tech. Jacob, you're picking BYU, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take BYU to lose by 14 points. Give me Texas Tech 35-21.
I do think this is going to be a closer game than that. I think it's going to be a game into the fourth quarter, but Texas Tech is going to show the country that they've learned how to win in these big games, and I do think Texas Tech's going to win. Kevin, you going to curse Texas Tech by picking them too?
I don't want to do it though. This is for you, Jacob Ray.
Is he picking BYU?
I'm gonna take the BYU Cougars. Okay.
That's a friend right there.
That's a friend.
That's a real friend.
But know where my rooting interest is.
Who do you think my friend on College Game Day is going to be that picks BYU?
Oh,
I think it's going to be Herb Street, man.
I think Kirk, because Kirk's calling the game, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, so
Okay,
Kirk can't call it because he's calling it. I think Desmond's going to pick him.
You think Desmond?
Desmond's going to start out BYU, and then everyone else we're going to sweep Tech is what we're going to do. Okay. There's no way Pat McAfee's not going to pick Tech in that environment, right?
Well,
no
That's
way.
done it before.
He has the Georgia-Alabama one a couple years ago is pretty iconic, but I do think I'll pick Desmond to pick BYU. Texas A&M, Missouri. Missouri starting a quarterback making his first career start, Matthew Zollers. They're missing Norfleet, their top tight end. This is at Missouri, though, so Texas A&M, Mizzou. Jacob, who you got?
Texas A&M will fall apart in this season, but it's not going to be this week. I think they take care of business against Mizzou.
I think they do, too. They score a ton no matter where they are. Like I mentioned, 45 points on the road, so give me Texas A&M here. I think Missouri's going to trail off at the end of the season. Kevin?
I'm hoping that I can jinx them. I'm going A&M.
So there we go. We all picked them. So if that's the jinx, I'll tweet that out later.
Let's go.
Oregon at Iowa. Top 25 Big Ten matchup at Iowa. No one wins in Iowa if you're a top 10 team on the road in November. But will Oregon do it?
You know, Iowa has a better chance of winning this game against Oregon than BYU has of beating the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And I'm with it. Give me the Iowa Hawkeyes at home. No matter how bad that offense is, it may be a low-scoring game, but they get the job done.
I agree. I think Iowa wins this game. I don't think Iowa's going to the playoff, but I have more questions about them now, Oregon that is, than I did at the beginning of the season. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. That was Fan University. Up next, Texas Tech, BYU. Enjoy your day at college football.
Our goal is...